Operation Wolf.
So I've got the soundboard for this thing Jimmy rigged at the moment. The harness was all hacked up, so I got a little speaker in there. So the soundboard's working now. Didn't really have to do much to it, just tweaked around some connectors and fired right up. So something in the harness is busted for sound. Other issues, this game's got the dreaded swelling. Really typical for this cabinet, for this age, but also just for this cabinet in general, because this had a flat surface. And you think in an arcade with a bunch of kids running around with pop, you put your pop on here, somebody tips it over. These things got beat up, so you don't really find them without this. Not a lot of rust anywhere. It's in pretty good shape. Other than that, I've got the top cover off of the gun here. And there's this shroud that goes around I've got off as well. So whoever had this apart before I bought it made a couple mistakes trying to get this thing working. The first mistake they made is on this opto board. They went to the expense of buying this brand new opto board. These are not cheap. Brand new reproduction opto board, but there's supposed to be these little brass standoffs to hold it in. And this thing mounts up in here in the gun like that. And the standoffs are meant to position this photodiode here right in front of that hole. So there's that black piece of plastic. The photodiode is meant to go right in front of that hole. Well, the guy had it installed wrong. So the photodiode didn't line up with the hole, so it couldn't see the screen at all. So go figure, gun doesn't work when you do that. I know the harness has got issues and the RF board's got issues. So right now the force feedback isn't working. So there's a motor here, it drives a gear train and moves this little piston, little shaker for when you're shooting things. That's not working right at the moment. So I'll have to get into the wiring to work on that. The other problem is this monitor is just tired old monitor. This is an old Wells Gardner K7000 and very, very high hours. And the way you can kind of tell is, if we go around back here, can pull off this back door. And if I can get this to focus, you can kind of see how everything smears. So you see how bright objects have a smear to them that dark objects don't have.
Operation Wolf.
This tube is cranked out to the max and it's still super dim. And I don't know if you can see this, monitor's backwards, and then up in here there's a mirror. Big mirror reflects out into the front. So that's how that works. And electronics down here. So I have a number of replacement tubes that can go in here. The K7000 is very forgiving when it comes to tube swap it. You can use television tubes with the original electronics, and they tend to work pretty well. I'll go ahead and coin it up, and I won't be able to play it because the opto sensor is not installed, but I can show it to you. By the way, some clever person rigged this up with the start button. This is a HAP style push button here, regular American push button style. These would have had a totally different type of push button in them. Somebody bent and cut this piece of metal to hold this style of push button here. Very cleverly done. Not something you normally see on Operation Wolf, as far as I know.
Operation initiated.
And I'm going to just get massacred because my gun doesn't do anything, but I can pull the trigger. You can watch the bullets count down. They won't go anywhere. Trigger switch. You can push a button up here to launch some bombs. I got stabbed with a knife there. So yeah, I'm very glad the boards seem to be fully working. I think this will restore nicely.